All right, hey everybody, it's Tuesday evening. It's Eric here with Weather for Weather Geeks, the Valley's most in-depth weather forecast video. We've got a lot to cover this evening, even though the weather over the next few days will be generally pretty quiet. We've got some interesting things to talk about. First of all, I talked about this on social media and on 21 News at 6, but in case you missed it, the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh today announced that they had found tornado damage during the Father's Day rash of tornadoes that occurred across parts of Ohio and western PA. Now, this was the same tornado that impacted eastern parts of Trumbull County, and originally it looked like it lifted right around the Ohio-PA state line, but as it turns out, the circulation did survive for about a mile into Mercer County and impacted parts of Sharon and into Farrell for just a little bit of time, and then finally that tornado did lift in farther east in Mercer County. We did not have any more damage from tornadic activity, but this caused a fair amount of tree damage. Mostly there was one home that a tree fell on the home and damaged parts of the roof, and a brick chimney as well. A PennDOT vehicle was blown over. Now, it was kind of interesting in the storm survey what they did with this. They rated this an EF1, even though the winds were estimated to be about 75 to 80 miles per hour. That wind speed and the nature of the damage would suggest EF0 tornado should have been the classification, but they left it an EF1 for continuity's sake. Basically, this was an EF1 as it went through eastern Trumbull County, and it was the same tornado, so they decided to leave well enough alone and just say this was an EF1. But the damage itself, the nature of the damage, mostly snapped trees, a little bit of minor structural damage, and one vehicle blown over, was more indicative of a high-end EF0 tornado. All right, back on this date in 1988, a lot of us, of course, remember the very hot and very dry summer of 1988, and on this day 31 years ago, a record high for today's date, 99 degrees. We had, of course, a ton of 90-degree temperatures back in that blazingly hot summer of 1988, and, we're into the time of the year now where, of course, it's pretty typical to see a 90-degree day. In fact, the 30-year average first date of a 90-degree temperature at the Youngstown Warren Airport is yesterday on the 24th. Last year, though, of course, it turned pretty hot. Memorial Day weekend on May 28th, we got into the lower 90s, 92 degrees. As you can see, there's a variance of dates here. Sometimes we wait until well into July, and then some years, like 2014, no 90-degree temperatures at all. In fact, in 2000, 2003, 2004, this century, we've also had no 90-degree temperatures during the summer officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport. Now, last year was a big year for 90-degree temperatures. I'll get out of the way here again. Last year we had 18 days with temperatures of 90 degrees or above. That is way above average and way above where we were from 2013 to 2017. Now the average here is about 8 to 9 90-degree days per year. Right now I'm pretty confident that we will not see anything approaching last year's number. And actually I kind of suspect we may be more in this range this year, below average. Kind of like we were in 2015, 16, and 17. More like maybe a handful to maybe 6 or 7 90-degree days for this year is kind of what I suspect is going to happen. We haven't had one yet. We've had exceptionally wet weather, and I don't see a heat dome building over our region anytime real soon. And so, by the time mid-July rolls around, we'll either have seen none or maybe at most 1 or 2, and that's by mid-July, and then summer's roughly half over. And with the wet ground, I kind of think it'll have a hard time getting real hot this summer. A lot of the sun's energy goes into evaporation before that energy can heat the ground and therefore heat the air. So it's not a real efficient way to heat the air when you've got a lot of moisture to evaporate out of the ground. All right, today was a beautiful summer day. Popcorn cumulus clouds, pretty classic summertime scene on our time lapse from Youngstown here. Nice looking day, and it was more comfortable today, that is for sure. It was very, very muggy on Monday. That helped fuel the showers and storms that we had during the second half of the day. But today, dew points were in the cozy range, especially as we got into the afternoon hours. Dew points dropped out of the 60s down into the 50s. And while, yes, it got into the mid-80s temperature-wise, it did not feel as nasty outside as it did on Monday. Our weather quiet this evening. It's going to stay that way overnight. A small severe weather box, watch box from Chicago and east into southwestern Michigan this evening. Those showers and storms will stay out of our hair for the time being. Now, our Wednesday forecast really hasn't changed much. This is black dashed line. It's kind of a sorry excuse for a cold front. It's not really a cold front. It's more like just a little trough of low pressure, a little weather disturbance. Might touch off a stray shower or storm somewhere across our region tomorrow afternoon. Not real excited about our prospects of this. I just can't rule it out. the Storm Prediction Center actually does have a low-end severe weather risk across northeast Ohio, northwest PA, and into western New York tomorrow. It's kind of an interesting setup. There's a fair amount of wind shear up here, but there's a little more instability down here. We're kind of in a squeeze play in between. And, you know, with that little disturbance coming through, I can't rule out a gusty shower. Worst case scenario, we get a pretty good updraft and we get a quick, you know, clap of thunder a couple of times, and maybe even there's some small hail, but I think the odds of that are pretty small. Overall, I think most of us will have a dry day on Wednesday, and then the heat becomes really the story again by the end of the week. We'll get well up into the 80s Thursday and Friday, another disturbance. I could have drawn another one of those dashed black lines through here on Friday. It's another weak disturbance that could touch off showers and storms here and there on Friday. It's going to turn pretty muggy. Dew points elevated over the next couple of days, but Friday, Saturday, that's no fun at all. With temperatures in the 80s, dew points around 70, that's instant sweat as you walk outside for a couple of days. All right, I've talked about this a little bit this week, but I really want to start advertising this coming up Thursday evening, 2 days from now, on WFMJ, live on TV. We're going to do a weather special, a half-an-hour special at 7 p.m. We'll also be streaming this on the website and our apps as well, so if you can't watch on TV, you can stream it on the website and apps. We're titling this New Norm, and the reason for that title, a lot of people, because of all the rain we've had, the severe weather we've had, not only locally, but across all of Ohio, we're up to 56 tornadoes now in Ohio so far this year. People are pretty anxious about the weather. It's impacted people's lives, their property, their livelihood, their occupations. People are anxious, people are upset, people are kind of scared. People are angry about, well, the weather and what they perceive as a lack of action, maybe in their township with flooding problems persisting. And a lot of people are just curious. Hey, is this the new norm? Is this what we can expect going forward? It is a fact, it is a scientific fact that the world is warming, the atmosphere is warming. How much of that is attributable to human activities and how much of it is a natural cycle? You know, there's room for discussion on that, but it is without a doubt happening. The Earth is warming. And there are consequences to that, and we're going to talk about some of those consequences, and even where we're not sure that we're seeing direct consequences from climate change, we'll talk about how climate change could impact our weather going forward. And then kind of back in the short term, we're going to talk about the rest of the summer forecast, including the July outlook. And again, we're going to talk about not only the rain that's been impacting us and some of the stats on that and what we can expect going forward, but the severe weather as well, some stats about that. And I think you'll just find this really interesting and informative. You know, we're not looking to cause a great debate here, especially on the climate change end of things. Some people immediately walk away when they hear that. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear it. They've formed their own opinions on it, even though their opinions may be kind of misinformed. We're not based on science, and so that just turns some people off. But we're not looking to have a political debate whatsoever. This is all about science, and we have no agenda on this. We're just looking to inform you. Chances are, if you're watching this video still, you are one of those who is open to science and straightforward facts about what is happening locally and worldwide, and a conversation about what may happen going forward. So 7 o'clock Thursday evening, check that out. I'll be talking more about this on social media, on my on our newscast as well, and right here on Weather for Weather Geeks on Wednesday evening. All right, have a great Tuesday night, everyone. Thank you, as always, for watching.